Hi, it's Miss Parrott, and this video is multi-step unit conversion by multiplying fractions. This is a level 2 video that's based on a previous video called unit conversion by multiplying fractions. If you haven't already watched that one and gotten sort of the base fundamentals on this skill, take a look at the link in the description below and it'll be there. So start there and this will be what happens next. All right, so when do we use multi-step unit conversion by multiplying fractions? Well, you're going to do this when you don't have a direct conversion factor to get you from the value you want to the value you need. For example, if I have 64 grams and I want to know how many pounds that is, but the only conversion factors I have are these, there's nothing here that goes directly from grams to pounds. But if I use an intermediate step and I take 2 steps instead of just 1, I can go from grams to some unit, then some unit to pounds. That's what we're going to be doing in this. So let's walk through this example and to learn the steps. First, just like previously, we're going to start by taking what we know, the value we've got, and turning it into a fraction by putting it over 1. So in this case, we're going to have 64 grams, and we want to dress it up like a fraction. So we're turning this whole number into a fraction by putting it over 1. Very important to remember, this 1 does not have units. So nothing needs to go there. Next, we're going to look at this list of conversions and figure out which conversion factors we need, what path we can make in order to get to, in this case, pounds, our final answer. So these all have grams. Oh, I see I can go from grams to ounces, then ounces to pounds. So I can use these 2 conversion factors to get me from what I have to what I want. Grams to ounces, then ounces to pounds. Next, you're going to set up a series of fractions to multiply. Since we have 2 steps, we're going to need 2 conversion factors, or 2, and we're setting conversion factors up as fractions. If we needed 3 steps, then we would make 3 fractions in a row. So first thing we're doing, we're just setting up exactly how many we need. However many steps you need, that's how many additional fractions you will be multiplying by. Next, we're going to fill in the units on those conversion factor fractions to make ourselves a little path here. So if I have this from before, and I knew I wanted to go grams to ounces, then ounces to pounds. Why do we do it this way? It's because whatever's in the numerator of the first fraction needs to be diagonal across in the denominator of the second, because later we're going to want to be able to cross cancel these out. Same with ounces here. Ounces on the top here, ounces on the bottom of the third, so that we will eventually be able to cross them out. We want right up here at the very end on the top, this should be the final units that we want to end up with at the end of the conversion. So we first fill in the units, then we're going to look at our list of conversion factors and put the correct numbers next to the units. You want to be very careful. A lot of folks, since this number is 1 on the bottom of the first fraction, they just want to put 1 on the bottom of everything, but that's not it. You want to put the number that matches with the units next to it. So in our example here, if I have 64 grams at the top, how many grams equals how many ounces? 28.3 grams equals 1 ounce. So I will put 28.3 grams equals 1 ounce. Then, how many ounces and pounds equal each other? Well, it looks like 16 ounces equals 1 pound. 16 ounces equals 1 pound. Remember, conversion factors are simply two numbers that look different, but they actually mean the same thing. Kind of like using two different languages. The word casa in Spanish and house in English look very different, but they mean the same thing. And we're using these as tools to help us get to the units, pounds that we finally want. All right, now that we're set up with our accurate units and numbers, we're gonna cross-cancel the units we don't need. In this case, right, we had our units were grams to ounces and ounces to pounds. So we're gonna cancel that out. Cancel ounces with ounces, leaving us with pounds. That's what we're going for. Next step. We're going to multiply across all values in the numerator by each other, then all values in the denominator by each other to get a final fraction. So 64 times 1 pound equals, right, so we do 64 times 1 pound. We keep these units because that's the whole goal, right, is figuring out how many pounds this is. And then we do 1 times 28.3 times 16. Note, there are no units on the denominator because we canceled them all out. And then be extra careful because things like 16 and pound look alike depending on your handwriting. All right, so let's clear this off. 64 times 1, well, that's 64. We don't need a calculator for that. Pounds over, but this one, 1 times 28.3 times 16 equals 452.8. All right, and now last step is to simplify and round. Simplify means we're not leaving anything as a fraction. Our final answers need to have decimals in them. All right, and then round. In this case, your teacher, would like you to round to 2 decimal places. But of course, you out there in YouTube world will round however your teacher wants you to do that. So this was all our math. We're left with this fraction, and so we can do 64 divided by 452.8, and that equals this very long decimal number. So again, if we're going to 2, we want to look at the third digit here. If that is below 5, we'll stick with 0.14. If this is 5 or above, we would round up to 0.15. But this is 1, so we're going to stick with 0.14. 0.14 what units? Pounds. Because units are the whole point of this entire activity. 0.14 pounds equals 64 grams. Let's quickly run through one more example. In this case, we're going to do I'm going to make one up. 1.55 ounces is how many milligrams? All right. So I take what I know, 1.55 ounces, and put it over 1. Then I'm going to look at my list of conversion factors. Nothing here goes directly from ounces to milligrams, but I can find the path. This will take me from ounces to grams, and then this conversion factor will take me from grams to milligrams. That's 2 steps. So I will set up my 2 steps And I will add the units, ounces to grams, and then grams to milligrams. This will ensure that I put the right numbers everywhere else. All right, let's look back at our conversion factors. So we have 28.3 grams equals 1 ounce. So this time, 28.3, because that goes with grams, it goes on the top, equals 1 ounce. That's my conversion factor. And then 1 gram equals 1,000 milligrams. Fantastic. All my setup is done. Now it's time to compute. Let's cancel our units, cross-canceling these, sticking with our final units of milligrams. Now we're going to multiply across the top. Let's get out our calculator here. 1.55 times 28.3 times 1,000 equals 43,865 milligrams over 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. But we need to simplify and round. Simplify meaning get this out of fraction mode and get it into like regular number mode. And then if I ask you for 2 decimal places, then I expect 2 digits after the decimal. If this is a whole number like this, you simply add the decimal and fill in zeros to get to the hundredths place. Always remembering to keep our units. And there are 43,865.00 milligrams in 1.55 ounces. And that's how you do multi-step unit conversion by multiplying fractions.